tip.
Good afternoon. It is February 14th, 2018. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Levinos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
Happy Valentine's Day, Will. You feeling the love?
I guess so. I don't know. Do people really tell you Happy Valentine's Day? I feel like you tell your one person that. Like, are we supposed to be mutually just telling people Happy Valentine's Day? This revolves back to the Happy Holidays thing. I kind of got a problem with. It's like, how do you know everyone's celebrating Christmas or they're not celebrating Christmas? What if I'm not celebrating Happy Valentine's Day? You know, it's very inconsiderate.
Well, you could have told me this, this morning before I said it to every person that I saw. I thought this was like Happy New Year's. I thought it would be rude if I didn't say Happy New Year. Happy Valentine's Day. It's a holiday.
See, these are perfect examples of rules that somehow exist in society, but nobody told me this. Nobody tells me you have to do that stuff. Is that the right thing to do, or is that the incorrect thing to do?
I don't think you have to do it, but it's a nice thing to do. It's like, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
All right. Well, I have the misfortune of not having a Valentine, so this is a holiday that I am now choosing not to celebrate. Because it's not an individual party. This is a group celebration, so you need someone else to celebrate this with. Without it, who cares? It's not a happy
You
day.
can't just celebrate. What are you talking about? You can't go out and get some chocolate. I'm not really a flowers guy, but
actually, hold on.
I like candy, and candy's a big part of that.
We'll get into this later, but no, we can't have any chocolate because Lent starts. All right, this is also another topic.
It's a real mean trick. Yeah, we'll get to that later.
So we will get to that.
No, you could do some other stuff. You could maybe listen to like some romantic music. While you're cooking dinner. I don't know. What's your favorite Valentine's Day movie?
That's a category. I thought those were called romantic movies.
Oh, for sure. No, they're different.
No. You did this with. You see, I'm gonna pick a beef with all the holidays right now. All right, we said the same thing about Halloween. Are all scary movies Halloween movies, or they're Halloween specific movies? Are we saying the same thing about Valentine's Day?
Well, I changed the rules are different for the different holidays.
Oh, all right.
The Valentine's Day. I mean, you can watch romantic comedies on Valentine's Day. Like that's cool. That's doable. There's ones that are like specific. There's like more specific.
So if I go on with my day and I watch Die Hard at some point, am I just trying to celebrate Christmas, or is that okay?
It's a love Valentine's. It's my favorite Valentine's Day movie. It's a love story. I think that it fits perfectly.
Yeah, that's probably the best example I'm going to throw out there right now in terms of movies that I may watch later. Will be Die Hard. It just feels about right. I haven't watched it in a while. We're a couple of months past Christmas. Maybe I need to re-see Die Hard again.
Yeah, treat yourself.
Well, the most fun thing about this conversation is this is not the first Valentine's Day podcast we've had. We've actually had many holiday podcasts over the past couple of years, and that's exciting because we get to kind of revisit all of these. And this is a story right now that we're going to revisit for the third time because we have been doing this for that long. This is about episode.
Oh man, that's so cool.
This is episode 125, something like that. I don't know. We lost count somewhere between BA Radio and Little Column A, Little Column B. But anyways, proceeding on with the story, this is cool. This was a Tinder fan night that happened about 2 years ago. This is 2015. 3 years ago. I don't know.
2015, yeah.
Where the Hawks.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead. You can introduce the topic here. You're probably a little bit more familiar with
I think it was. It says just 2015. It was like 2.5 years ago, and their whole thing was, hey, you know what? Let's try to make it a little more romantic. I don't even think it was around Valentine's Day or anything. They're just like, hey, there's a game in December. We're gonna try to get some people together, try to create some magic, play Cupid, and that's what they did. They called it Swipe Right Night, and sure enough, they advertised this, and we talked about it in the pod and thought like, hey, this is a cool idea. You're just trying to get different ways. The Hawks this year aren't very good. Even back then at the time weren't great. So they're just trying to get people in any way they can. And then we followed up on this story because there were two people that met on Swipe Right Night, and they really went all for it. They were going to be getting married. We talked about that. We thought that was cool. Well, this wasn't just a thing that it's way off in the distance. This is a legitimate thing that's happening. The wedding is going to be March 3rd. It's going to be at Phillips Arena where the Hawks play. The CEO of the Hawks is like following through on this completely. He bought a wedding dress. He bought dresses for the bridesmaids. He is not backing down from this. I think we even might have talked about this, saying, oh, well, how much is he really going to put in for this? What's he really going to do? I would say he's gone above and beyond on this, and this is just a really cool story.
It's a really, really cool story. I'm glad we got to revisit it again. So the first time it was about the night. The second time was about the owner saying he was going to do some form of payment or contribute to the wedding because he was so happy they met at his arena. And now really coming through, offering the venue and just going above and beyond in purchases and actually truly being, from my understanding, outside looking in, he feels like he's really involved, and that's really cool. That's just awesome. But I'll ask you this: the real point of all of this was supposed to get people to go to the game. Now? I don't know if this is enough to sway. It may not even sway me. Maybe it'll sway you. Are you now going to be attending sporting events and specifically Atlanta Hawk events with the upside of potentially meeting the right one?
I think you're asking the wrong person just because I already like basketball. So if I had an opportunity to go to a basketball game, I would go. But I think this has definitely got to interest more of a fringe fan of well, I got some disposable income and well, what do I want to do tonight? And it's like I kind of like basketball, like that's okay, but it's like oh, here's a little wrinkle to it. I definitely think, especially with this good publicity they're getting, and I don't even think you go in thinking oh, I'm gonna find my future special someone or oh the owner's gonna pay for this. It's just hey, well this could be fun. I think that it would encourage the average fan or maybe not the average fan but a fringe fan to go.
I think it's just extra too for the regular fan. Much like yourself, I think this is just adds to it of saying, "Oh, not only do I get to see."
It definitely doesn't detract from it. I don't see this and go oh well now I don't want to go.
Well, I think with certain activities, there's a chance. Well, why am I going to do that? You know what? I'm not going to meet anybody there. There's nothing. There's no point of doing that. This is kind of nice because it's something you already enjoy doing, with the possibility of still meeting somebody. I feel like you make this
Yeah.
compromise too many times with so many activities, thinking like, I don't feel like going out tonight. I don't want to deal with the bar scene, but that's kind of where people are, and that's kind of one of the most standard and relied on ways of meeting people. So I don't know.
Plus
I like
with
the
the
idea
whole
of it.
Tinder thing, it's not like you have to go up approached by people you don't want to be approached by. It's like, hey, you're just on your phone for a while, and then once you say yes, I'm willing to meet this human, you go and do it that way. So it's not super invasive.
Anyways, do you know the name of the couple by any chance? Can we wish them a congratulations for
Oh,
future?
we absolutely can.
So,
It is Ben McCleskey and Avery Armstrong.
well, congratulations, guys. Hopefully, Atlanta will have more success in their sports in the near future. Obviously, coming from two New England-based guys, it's truly I don't even know how to say this. This isn't good. They don't want to hear from us. This is bad. Get me out of this.
No, no, but we're being nice.
But we do wish you luck in not only your personal endeavors but your sports city. Good luck. That I could probably said that better. But moving on, Valentine's Day is much more than just that. It's about the food, really, right? It's a chance to go sit down and have a meal with somebody. But wouldn't it be great if when you sat down and got a meal that they also gave you a Valentine? Well, that's happening right
That would
now.
be nice.
That would be nice. Wouldn't it be great? Well, this is actually happening in
It
real
would be nice.
time. So, to my understanding, you can go to KFC today. Is this an all week event or is this just today?
It's definitely today.
So, what's the deal? I show up to KFC. I get my bucket of chicken and what they give me candy. They
And
give
then they will give you a Valentine's Day card. They got some different sayings on it. I fell in love the first moment I slaw you with a picture of coleslaw. Uh, you have the secret recipe to my heart. We're two peas in a chicken pot pie. And the little bonus to this is that they are scratch and sniff. So you give this to your special someone, and they get to. Hopefully, you brought that KFC with you, but maybe you didn't, and they could still kind of smell that delicious KFC that maybe you already ate in the car.
All right. I think this is a great idea. Again, I'm all for it. It's kind of a cheery thing. Even if you were alone, you could go to KFC. Depending on your religious background, you may or may not be able to order what you truly want. But with that being said, it's kind of nice to have somebody handing out a Valentine. Now, one thing, I don't want to talk about the Valentine too much. I want to talk about scratch and sniff. Right, this is an invention that's something I haven't heard of in years, and thought this was the coolest thing as a kid. But it feels like to me that this is technology that peaked and then never went with it. Like, this is kind of a cool idea and concept and all that, but it never developed into something substantial. And maybe that's just me for having a standard and expecting it to kind of go somewhere with that. But like scratch and sniff TV, isn't happening anytime soon, to my understanding. So why do we care about this? This is ancient technology.
It still works, man. If it's not broke, you don't need to fix it.
It is
It
kind
just
of
does it.
broke
It's
though.
got a
It is
nice
a
little thing, and you're talking about things getting thrown way back. You know they still have markers that smell like different things.
what do you mean
Remember when
marker?
you were in elementary school and you had the markers, and the yellow one smelled like a lemon, the orange one obviously smelled like an orange. Remember
No,
that?
no. I was.
Purple one smelled like a grape.
I
You
thought the.
definitely had these in elementary
I,
school.
I
This is
don't.
a this is a thing that everybody knows about.
All right. Anyways, proceed. What was the point of that? I don't care about those
What was I
either. I
saying?
don't even
Well,
remember
I was
these.
saying you're talking about these. You're talking about these that the scratch and sniff is this outdated technology, and I hadn't heard about sense markers. But I was at a conference for work last week, and they were handing out these markers, and they had scented markers. I didn't think that those existed anymore, but they still do.
And
So
what was the point of the scent? It's just supposed to be kind of nice to have. It's almost like a candle, kind of for breeze as you're
I don't
working,
really know, but
coloring.
you were a kid, and that was just kind of always the joke. Is like you're smelling the markers, and maybe you start smelling them too much. They had a brown smelling one. Like I don't remember what that one was, but that one always didn't smell so good. That was a weird one. But the other ones they smelled. It was just like I said, like orange or lemon or lime or something. Like just kind of like some fruity flavors or not flavors, fruity scents.
See, that's the thing is I don't want to smell something and not have the chance to eat it because if it smells like grape, I want to eat a grape. Is that so wrong?
Well, I'm sure maybe this is why you don't remember it because you blocked it out because when you were in elementary school, you ate a bunch of these markers.
And I could never be trusted again. This is why I never had these markers. They're just banned from my memory. They're no longer there.
Probably that's what I'm thinking. I'm shocked. I thought for sure you'd be like, oh yeah, I definitely remember these.
Uh,
I thought this was a common thing that everyone remembered.
I remember being told things I shouldn't sniff and don't do the glue
Ask
and the.
ask your roommates after the podcast. Ask your roommates. Ask your buddies when you're out and about. Find out maybe this was just a
This is a
very
Bishop household
small
thing.
small group thing. This doesn't. I'm pretty sure this is a widespread thing, and you're on the outside of this
Well,
one.
maybe I am on the outside, but anyways, you have you're totally fine with the scratch and sniff. Like this is something you would still want today. If I send you a card, it'll
Yeah.
be okay if the next card is scratch and sniff.
Well, hold on. What's it gonna smell like?
Well, who cares? It's the
Well, it matters very much if it's smelly laundry. Like, no, I don't want that. But if it's delicious KFC, yes, please.
well. Am I the only one who has a problem with people saying "you smell" as a phrase? It doesn't mean anything. That means you can smell good. What does you smell is immediately a negative thing. So how could scratch and sniff be such a positive thing? Boom. Oh, argument one.
I was not expecting you to go this
Oh
direction.
man.
This
Oh
is a
man.
surprise.
I just end the podcast. This is a little column A, a little column B. Play the music. Where's the music? Intern. We are.
I I was not expecting this as a thing that
Oh well.
you smell it. Have people been telling that to you and you
No,
don't
no,
like it?
no. I just thought it was
Has
more
that
of a
been a problem?
Seinfeld take
You've
on
been
it.
smelling too good, and they've been saying you smell.
Nobody is saying anything like that to me. I wish they were saying something like that to me, or they're not. There's a reason I don't have a Valentine right now. But
Because you're smelling too good is what it sounds like.
oh, I can't tell. I feel like I won this argument, and yet I still feel like a loser at the end of it. It's not a good feeling.
I don't know, man. You're just derailing this whole thing.
All right. You know what? I don't know. Scratch and sniff was a terrible topic. We shouldn't even talked about it. Moving on to other things I'm probably on the outside looking in on. The Olympics are now taking place. I don't know how else we're going to transition into this, but just going forward, I've been watching a lot of Olympics, a lot of curling, co-ed curling specifically. USA guys got a sweet mustache. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you take a look at that. Don't know if you'd want to smell it, but let's staying on topic here. Shaun White also had a crazy run yesterday. I'll ask you, what has your favorite
Oh, that
event
was
in the
awesome.
Olympics been so far?
To be honest with you, I haven't been watching much of the Olympics at all. I think this is just it's always like, oh, those summer Olympics are better than the winter Olympics. I don't know if it has to do so much with that. It's just in the summertime, all you're competing with is with baseball, and it's the middle of the baseball season. So it's like I've already been watching baseball for a while. If you're into it, you still know there's gonna be a bunch of baseball afterwards. Where the Winter Olympics, like they were on last night, but there's also a bunch of good college basketball matchups on. The NBA's on. It's just you got to compete with a lot of these other things. It's not. I feel like it's not readily um, announced what's going to be where it's okay tonight. You know, Duke game starts at 7 o'clock. Auburn, Kentucky starts at 9 o'clock. It's pretty much going to start right then. For some of these events, I see them. It's like there's a what is it? It's like snowboard cross where it's four snowboarders going down. It's like BMX, but you're on a snowboard. It's like that sounds really cool, but I don't really know when it's going to be on. And then it's like when it's actually on, and then versus when it's on TV, and they're not the same. And you can know the results already. So I haven't really got into it. What I have watched is I did watch the women's half pipe, which any all that half pipe stuff is cool. I watched. I don't know what the name of it was, but it was the men's snowboarding where they go down and hit like three really big jumps, and I thought that was cool. But that was still kind of on the background. I did watch a little bit of the ice skating on Sunday, just because people on Twitter were like people that you normally are watching football were like, hey, I'm kind of checking this out, and yeah, I'm kind of doing this, and I think they just tricked me because I watched it and it was like, ooh, yeah, this is just kind of like it's just dancing on ice. This isn't for me.
Well, do you think if you were to watch these events in person, you would appreciate it more? Do you think it would be more interesting?
Ooh, that'd be tough. I've heard this is actually one of the first times in recent the past few Olympics where it's actually in a cold area. Like the last Olympics in Sochi, up in Russia. You think of Russia, you think of Siberia, cold all the time. It was in a southern part of Russia. They had to truck snow in. It's more of a I think the joke was like that's like Putin's like vacation area. So it's really cold there. It's not, oh, hey, yeah, it's kind of like 50 degrees. We kind of got some snow in, and we're doing. It's like no, it's really cold. They had to postpone some of the events because the wind was so bad. So the half pipe, you're going way up in the air, and the wind was blowing them around, and they're really having trouble trying to land safely. So I think it'd be fun to see in person, but ooh, if it's that cold, ooh, I don't know how long I'd last out there.
I just think some of these events, it's not that they don't look impressive on TV. It's that I don't think you truly understand the scale of how high, how far, and how big these jumps are. Whether it's the skiers, the snowboarders, or any of the other crazy events they have going on, I think you would appreciate every one of these winter events specifically so much more in person. And I don't know if I can exactly I don't know if I can exactly figure out the reason why. Because the summer events, I feel like they're all kind of cool. They feel a little bit more relatable. I guess I've never really done any of the. I'm not a skier. I'm not a snowboarder. I've never competed in any of these winter games at all. So perhaps that's just
My
a lack of familiarity there.
my note my note noticing when you're kind of saying like the summer games a little more relatable, it was looking at the winter games and just some of the events I was watching, and it was just any one of these events. If I were to try them, I would most likely seriously hurt myself. For the summer, you're kind of looking at it and it's like, okay, swimming, I'd be slow, but okay, I could do that. All right. Uh, maybe some of the gymnast stuff is a little more difficult, but it's like, okay, say I'm up on even the high bar. If I fall, I'm falling, what is that, 10, 12 feet up? I'm not exactly sure, but you fall, there's like a mat there, there's a spotter. You're on the luge, they're going like 100 miles an hour. I mean,
The,
you are cruising. They put it in kilometers. I don't know like the exact ratio there, but they are moving, and I don't know how the brakes work. It just seems like you lie down and you go, and then they got skeleton, which is just you're on your stomach, but it's the same thing. It seems all these events are just super dangerous if I were to ever try them.
so why doesn't that make it more entertaining? I feel like the viewership. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's down. I have personally tuned in like you into a lot of other events, both football and basketball. I guess the Super Bowl is over now, but still, even football talk has been interesting. We have so much crazy stuff going on between the fandom in Philly and going forward with the Patriots. A lot of coaching
Well,
carousels.
I think part of the issue, at least for me, is, and this might be something that other people are more interested in, is I don't know anybody. It's not like even for the World Cup for soccer, I barely know anything about soccer. But there's like a few players like I've heard of. like the main people. So even if you're like even a little closer to soccer than me, it's like, oh well, I know some of these guys and I want to check out how this guy does, or I don't want this guy to play well, so I'm gonna watch. Where it's like I know Sean White, but can you name another one?
No, no, I can't.
It's
Not
like
even a
Cody
little bit.
Miller, but he's not there anymore, and it's just going into it. I don't have like a rooting interest or someone to. There's no LeBron where it's just like, oh well, I sports hate this guy, so I'm gonna watch because I hope that he gets beat. It's like I just don't know anybody, and I guess that's kind of why you have to tune in, and that's why they do the nightly recaps where they do an in-depth like, hey, this person is from Connecticut and here's kind of their story. But I don't know, it's like I'm it's different. It's like, am I there to watch a documentary or am I there to watch a sporting event? It's kind of two different moods for me.
The other painful thing that I've had to struggle with watching the Olympics is the actual events. I find they're still interesting. I'll tune in every now and then. There's other things I'd rather watch over them. But the biggest turnoff for me is the stuff in between the events. The anchors and the struggling to fill time in between the runs. It just feels like such a struggle to me. And I get these guys may not do this all the time, and perhaps there's only so much you can tell me about ice luging and all these events that it's got to be kind of hard to fill that time. But man, it's been a struggle with a couple announcers and anchors that I've seen just this past week alone. I don't know how you make that
Well,
better,
that's
but
one of
there's
the
got to be something more interesting going on, or some other topics, or better interviews. There's something you gotta get my attention somehow. You got to do better than that because I feel like that's why I lose it. Is the actual event I watch and it's cool, and then as soon as it ends and we wait for the next one to start, you lose me. It gets boring. It gets stale. You can only show me
and
the replay of a 90-second run so many times in a row before I'm gonna turn into something else.
yeah, and some of it too is you're saying about how, well, hey, this stuff is crazy difficult. Doesn't that make it more interesting? But I was talking about the luge. I mean, they show these same camera angles every time, and the difference in the time, it's very similar to like the 100-meter dash, but it like takes a little longer. But I mean, it's tenths of a second that when I'm watching, I can't really tell who's doing better than the other. So it just kind of looks the same. It kind of looks like, okay, I saw the Canadian go. Oh, I saw the Norwegian one go. Oh, there's the American, and it's not till the times come out and there's tenths of a second difference, but it's like I can't tell. I can't tell midway through if he's having a good run or if he's not having a good run, and it's say, oh, I guess I really don't. I can't really follow this. I just kind of move on.
See that the one thing I'll say is that's been kind of fun to try to figure out with the curling, because curling it turns into both obviously a skill set and kind of a chess mindset of predicting future moves or figuring out what the other team's strategy is and trying to figure out how you're going to get the points at the end of the day. As a viewer, I'm kind of analyzing it as best I can, just like they are, and it's really cool to see them talking kind of in between. So I'll say with that sport, they keep me interested because I can hear what everyone's saying on the ice there, what they're trying to talk out. And even if it's in another language, you can see what they're pointing at, and that keeps me a little bit more engaged in some of the other stuff. But
How fun would curling be to play in college?
curling would be fun to play right now.
Like, and not yeah, that's what I mean. Like, not even seriously of, oh, we want to make the Olympics and we're taking this super seriously. More of, hey, it's Friday. If you're in college afternoon or now, it's like, hey, it's after work on Friday. Hey, you want to go hit up? You want to throw some stones? And you just like you're out there, and especially out in California, it's hot out. Just kind of you go in, you cool off a little bit, and you play a little bit. It's just like it's bigger, shuffleboard on ice, which I'm sure people that really like curling are going to be like, no, it's not like that at all. But I mean, that's basically what it is. It just seems like you can easily have a drink in your hand, and it seems like it'd be like a really fun way to spend the evening.
If I was given the chance to play, I would. I couldn't just do it with like four new guys. It would have to be like one of us would
No,
have to know something, just so the strategy kind of gets developed. Otherwise, you're just we're throwing spaghetti at a wall hoping something sticks here. We're not really testing anything out. We
No,
need
yeah,
somebody that.
I definitely agree there. You'd need a little bit of like, hey, I've played this before. Well, this kind of works with anything. Everyone's brand new. It's like, well, what are we doing? Are we doing this right? Where it's like, oh, okay, we got a general idea. We're
Well,
getting pointed in the right direction.
I can transition into a couple of topics here, but let's talk. Let's talk time of year right now. I don't want to preach religion or anything like that, but Zach and I both practice Lent, and we've come up with some ideas that we've done in the past that I think viewers have found interesting. We won't talk too detailed about it, but Lent does start today, and I imagine you are going to be giving up something. Would you like to share that with the listeners?
Sure. So a little more background on that. We're practicing Catholics, and Lent's a part of that, just so that doesn't get too confused.
Well,
And
I don't.
then
I don't want
the
to.
Lent,
I try to keep it as
well,
vague as
just a,
possible.
yeah, well, just a little more. Lent's the 40 days between Ash Wednesday and Easter. So what we're trying to do is just you try to do something so it's for 40 days, which to me is just it's a little bit easier to grasp than say a New Year's resolution where it's either for the year or forever and ever. Where it's just like okay, it's just 40 days. It's just like a little over a month. So what I've done is I already shaved the beard off yesterday, so the
Oh
beard's
no,
gone.
beard is gone.
So I had I had a pretty decent beard going to the point where I could grab it. I could grab it with my fist, and that's gone. I'm still trying to get used to that. I kind of as I walk around every time the wind will hit it just right, and it's really cold. And other times I'll go to kind of grab it, and it's not there. So I'm still trying to get used to that. Also, when you look at yourself in the mirror when you've had a beard, now without the beard, your chin looks a lot smaller. So it just like proportionally looks weird. So still trying to figure that all out. So it's a struggle. So I will be clean shaven for the next 40 days. Actually, that's not true. I'll be clean shaven for the next 39 and 3/4 days. Uh, Giving up chocolate. So that's a difficult one on Valentine's Day. My mom was super nice to send me a Valentine's Day care package, and she knows that I usually give up chocolate for Lent, so she sent it a few days early. So yesterday I ate a bunch of Reese's eggs. I ate a bunch of Kit Kats and some York peppermint patties, and then she was also nice to make me some sugar cookies. So those lasted till today, so I can still have those. Um, I'll be doing no soda. That's another common one, and no fast food.
No fast food. See, the no fast food's always a great idea. The problem is I feel like a lot of the times I'm getting fast food because I don't have time for anything else, and I don't want to spend the money or time to get something else. And that has caused even more problems in my life
Well,
than giving
here
it up.
here is part of that fast food that I agree with what you're saying, and to be more successful, it's kind of getting wrapped in. Is this is a way to be a little more conscientious about healthy eating and just kind of planning ahead. So sure, every once in a while you do get stuck in an absolute like, oh, all this crazy stuff happened and now I'm hungry. But most of the time, you know when all that craziness is going to happen and you can plan accordingly. Usually, you just don't. You're like, I'll just figure it out later. But with this, it's like, no, I have to think this through. I'm going to be running errands after work. I'm not going to make it home till late. I'm going to have to eat somewhere, or I make a sandwich, before I go to work. That's going to be my, my afternoon sandwich. You just got to kind of think things through a little bit more.
All right, what if the place gives you a Valentine? Are you
I'm
gonna be,
gonna have to say no, man.
you know,
It's Valentine's Day, but no chocolate. It's them's the rules.
you're gonna turn down KFC's Valentine?
I'm
Look
I
at you,
turn
look at you
yo.
turning down
I
Valentines. That's how I'm gonna talk about this. We're gonna turn this story into that. Zach turns down Valentine. That's gonna be the headline.
I turned down chocolate covered strawberries today. I'm committed.
That's great to hear. I in the past, I think it was just last year. I don't know if this was a mutual idea or whoever came up with it, but I kind of came up with the idea where there were so many things I could give up, and they would, they may or may not be habits. They may not be things that I really do all the time. They're just things I would like to do less, and that didn't really feel like enough of a true sacrifice. So I tried to find something that would go along the lines with that, but still be productive in making my life healthier. So we came up with the Lent bucket list, as I'm calling it, and hopefully everyone will understand exactly what a bucket list is. It's things that I'm trying to get done between these 40 days. So I'm going to try and work out every day. There's some new things I want to try. I think that'll be productive. We talked about curling being a possibility thing we would love to try. I've tried surfing before and I've tried golf before, and I really didn't learn any of it. But I kind of want to give that another go in these 40 days. I think that'll be healthy for both business and pleasure. And I'm trying to play a little less basketball this year. That was a New Year's resolution. Just trying to stay healthy for hopefully the rest of the time here. Last year has been a struggle between two ankle injuries and all that, and that really wasn't fun. So I imagine surfing and golf will be not only fun, it'll be learning something new, and hopefully keep me a little bit healthier and a little less body breakdown than basketball and running and all of that other exercise that's higher impact. So those are kind of the things I'm going to be trying to do in the 40 days. Now my 40 days is going to go on a little bit longer, because I am Greek Orthodox and we are on a different calendar, but it's more or less the same. We don't need to get into all the details
Which
of
is
that.
lucky because in the past it has not lined up at all, and it's turned into like
Yeah, it
60 something days.
yeah it's ranged between between the Easters being anywhere from the same day to 4 weeks off, four Sundays later. That's not the case this year. It's only 1 week off, and that is something I am personally grateful for. Although maybe these are good habit. I'm kind of looking at Lent as a chance to create better habits rather than get rid of bad ones. Hopefully that makes sense to most people. It makes sense to me. But that's what I'm going to be doing over the next 47 days or whatever it is. Yeah.
Are we imposing any penalties on these if they're not followed through on?
I was thinking we could do something like that, but I also know kind of towards the end of March, we have our March Madness bets coming around the corner. So I imagine consequences could be a little bit more executed then. So if you already have some ideas for this, save them for that bet, and just hope you win.
Gotcha.
Just hope that you win, like last year. Uh,
Oh, it's no hoping. I'm gonna get a perfect bracket this year.
this is the year. Well, I don't know
Yep.
if I don't know. I do wish you have a perfect bracket, but I do not want to lose the bet again. Last year I had to run a high heel race, which is exactly as it sounds, a race in high heels. And there's video of it. You can look it up on our YouTube page. Little column A, little column B. Just YouTube right that. It should be the only page with that. And scroll down to Will's high heel race. I should say it's some March Madness
Yeah, we need to
account.
get some more. We need to get some more views on that. Even if you've seen it before, you should go back and visit it. It's well worth it.
Well, yeah, it's not my greatest display.
You know
Def-
what? You not only should you click it, you should open that up. YouTube's really easy. Share that with some people.
you
Spread
should
spread that around a little
you,
more.
you
Get that should get a second life.
You most definitely should share it. I have no problem with that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Share it. You couldn't do it either. And anyone who says they're faster than me, I dare you to try it. It's not as easy as it looks. It's really
Ooh,
hard.
showdown, showdown.
Throwing down the gauntlet. Anyone who truly wants to race it, no, you know what? I'm not going to even offer that. Don't do that. I'm not going to offer that either.
Oh,
I was going to say, if you really want to do it, we'll make it happen, all right? We'll make the throwdown right now, all right? Any challengers in the high heel
yeah.
race,
Ugh.
I will take you on, all right? It's got to be in San Diego, though. I'm not traveling for that. Gauntlet thrown. Gauntlet thrown. With a lot of special circumstances.
Yeah.
Speaking of some special circumstances, did you know the Golden State Warriors are really good? Did you know that?
I have heard that rumor.
They're really good. So good that I think Cleveland might have closed the gap with these trades a little bit, but I still think they are so head and shoulders above everyone else. And they're starting to show it, and not only their play, but in their coaching strategies. Just the other night, Steve Kerr decided to essentially hand over the clipboard to the players and said, "You guys figure it out. You guys do it." And there's a lot of reasons to this, but I mean, I could talk about this for days. I think this is so interesting. I don't know if I like it or hate it. I don't think it's a good decision. I don't think you ever want to hand over the keys just like that and say, "Hey, here you go. You guys drive." Uh, I think it's a lack of responsibility on the coach. But I can understand on his side if he's just every huddle over the past couple of years he's been trying to get their attention, and if they're no longer listening, this is certainly a new way to suddenly get their attention. I just don't know if they're going to give it back to Kerr. What do you think? Is this a good idea of Steve Kerr handing over the keys for a game to these players who are great players and a great team? Are they? Was this a good move or a bad move?
I am in the I'm a results oriented kind of guy, and they won by 46 points. Seemed to work to me. If you're not aware in basketball, that's winning by a whole heck of a lot. You don't see that very often, a team getting beat by close to 50 points. And I think that what Kerr was trying to do was saying, hey, we're winning this game by so many points. There's always these guys, at the end of the bench, and you start to not pay attention. Hey, here's a way we can keep them a little bit more engaged. Here's a way that I can show them or give them the opportunity to kind of see what I'm thinking. And I think that this could definitely be helpful down the road of you're not just going into, the final 2 minutes of a game thinking, oh, what do I have to do? What's all of my responsibilities? You can kind of be thinking, oh, what's the coach thinking? What can I do to help the team a little bit more? And I think that it's a helpful thing, and it's one of these things. We don't have to take everything that in sports as life and death. This could just be a fun thing that happened.
Well, I just feel like it's a very dangerous power to give away. This is the one advantage you allegedly have over these players, and I feel like once you give it up, I don't know if it ever comes back. And the only reason I would say it's concerning on top of that is if they start losing or if they don't win at all this year, they're going to put the blame on somebody. Do you know who's going to get blamed first, even if it's not his fault? It's going to be the coach. It's going to be
Kevin
Steve
Love.
Kerr. Well, it's always Kevin Love, but then it's Steve Kerr. Then it's Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is the one is going to get the blame on this. So I give him
But you
credit.
just said that the Warriors are head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah, but you
So
know
I
what?
think that we
Just
both
because
agree
I
that losing is kind of out of the equation.
all right, don't you
This
think it's
isn't
don't you think it's different when we say that versus when they say that and they just don't even care about a regular season game and blow a team out like this? Like, that says something as
What do you mean
well.
they didn't care? They played well enough to win by 46 points,
Why do we have any?
and they messed around.
So do you think they need a coach? Do they need a coach? Can they just get rid of him? Can Kerr just start going on
Yes.
vacation? Come back next month. They'll be fine.
I think that they don't need him for all the games. They do need him for some of the games. I think when you are going against the competition, the elite, the playoff teams, you need a coach,
All right.
and you
Just,
just need a coach in general. You can't just not have a coach because someone's got to decide when to
all
play
right.
the bench
Let's
guys.
say we go 5, 10 years, however long this dynasty of the Golden State Warriors lasts, and finally they start having a rebuild mode, and Steve Kerr decides he no longer wants to be part of a rebuild. He was part of the great team, and he wants to move on somewhere else. Does this strategy affect you from hiring him? Is that too much? Is
No,
this doesn't change this at all? Does this hurt him as a coach? Does it make him look worse?
no, no, not at all.
No. I see. I
He's
think
got
it
he's
does.
got uh
I almost feel like this is
he's
an
got
exit
two
strategy.
he's
Like
got
you.
two championships in 3 years.
All right. Well.
It's
All
hard to
right.
get much better than that. What are you gonna do? You're gonna pick the guy that took everything really seriously. Maybe a guy like Tibbs takes everything real seriously, plays his guys too many minutes, wears them out,
I.
wears the players down. Where it's like they just like don't want to play basketball or can't play basketball anymore. Like look at Joakim Noah. He just can't play anymore. His
Yeah.
body's just done.
That may be a little bit of an overcorrect
Or
of.
this guy that like had some fun because it's basketball and it's fun, and that's kind of the whole idea. And you've been to the finals 3 years in a row. You're well on your way to a fourth, and who knows how many. And you just made things interesting.
Well,
He
assuming.
and you say had them coaching. They were drawing up plays. I don't think the way you're making it sound like he gave up all of his responsibility at all. I think they drew up some plays.
All right. If you were the other team, are you at all disrespected by this? This doesn't bother you at all.
I sure hope so. I hope you're bothered, but you're getting beat by 40 points. That right there should let you know, hey, we're not good.
I just kind of felt like a slap in the face of something very unorthodox that hasn't happened before and probably shouldn't happen again. I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the direction. It's not good for coaches. It's not a good look going forward. They're already the first ones to get blamed. They're
Should
all.
they should they just not score?
I don't know. I don't know what they should do. I just.
Oh, we don't want to hurt your feelings. That you do this for a living, but oh, we don't want to hurt your feelings. oh, if we score too many points, you'll be gonna be sad. That's what it feels like.
Oh,
You're a professional athlete. You know how this works. This isn't, you don't have to worry about, this is a this is an 8-year-old kid and like doesn't understand this.
I
You got
just
your ass handed to you. Just deal with it.
I just know that the coaching and the player relationship, at some point somebody's gonna have to listen to somebody. I don't know who they're gonna listen to, and that could easily, Kirk could be wrong on some of these situations, and coaches have been wrong before. So I'm not gonna say like they're perfect and you should always listen to them. But I just feel like this is gonna be an interesting power shift going forward, because if they have to go through any adversity, the problem is this team's too good that this is a problem that would affect every other team in the NBA, but isn't going to affect them because they're that good. That's all
And
my
that's
point
why I
is.
think the rules are different.
That's all my point
And
is.
yeah, that's why I think the rules are different. And I think this would be a different discussion if this was, I'm trying to think of, say, maybe like Sacramento, where it's like, hey, you guys as a franchise haven't had success in over a decade. You got a bunch of young guys. You got, there's not a ton of veteran. Like they got a bunch of
No,
veterans,
they
but
do
like
have
the
a bunch.
veteran leadership where,
They're the
but
worst run.
you know what I mean?
They're the worst run organization
Yeah,
in basketball. They're a mess. If anything, this would be helpful to them because they don't make any other decisions right. So they might as well just throw the book out and go do whatever the opposite of everything is. So
and so that would make me concerned there. But with the Warriors for a game, they got this is the middle of the season. You're just trying to get to the All-Star break. All your guy like half your team basically is playing in the All-Star game,
all
so
right.
they're not going to get a ton of rest there. So yeah, let them have some fun.
All right, so you're saying it's nothing. All right, that's nothing. Well, a lot of people may
Nothing.
say the Celebrity All-Star Game is nothing. It's a bunch of non-professional athletes going out and trying to be professional athletes. But I kind of like it. I like the offset thing. It's fun to see these guys, especially almost out of character, which is weird because they're just not in character exactly. But they've got a pretty good lineup this year. I got a couple good celebrities. I'm a big Turtle from Entourage is on there. I think that's pretty cool. Bubba Watson made a team. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know, Bubba Watson's just he's a golfer. Seems interesting to me. I want to see what he has in an actual little bit more intensely athletic, I'll say, sport. Kind of see him go up and down.
Hmm.
As well as there's a bunch of other people on here. Are you excited to see any of these one anyone specific excite you?
I am always down to see Win Butler play.
That's
Big
the
man from Arcade Fire,
yeah
who's
yeah
who's played quite a few years now.
yeah.
Uh, I'm I'm nah. That's the one guy that stuck out to me. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I know not just of him as what he does professionally, but also like, oh yeah, I've seen him in this a few times. There wasn't a ton of people that really jumped out at me. Uh, I did like uh, the the NBA players that are going to be in it,
Yep, that's
where it's like
exciting.
Tracy McGrady, Nate Robinson, Paul Pierce, and Jason Williams. It's just like all those guys can do something that's cool without because like they don't. If you're unaware of the celebrity game, it's very much a fun game, and the NBA guys, even being older, are still way bigger and well, except for maybe Nate, and are way better, but they don't. They're not going after it. They're doing
No.
like fun stuff, but I think Jason Williams can make like some fun passes. Pierce will do some fun stuff. Um,
Are you
I
are
don't
you
know what T
excited
Mac
for
exactly will do, but he could be out there. Nate, I don't, can Nate still dunk? Like that would be fun to see. He's still not very, very, very big.
that'll be fun. I'm
Maybe he'll
sure
do just like some dribbling stuff and just try to like kind of do a little hot sauce and one. I like that, and then I like that Rachel Nichols and Katie Nolan are the coaches. Those are just two fun basketball people that Rachel Nichols hosts the Jump on ESPN every day with Pierce is on that with T Mac and some other NBA guys. So it's like definitely basketball related. They didn't just like pick her out of like, oh well, we should really have a female. It's like, oh no, this is cool, and just both seem like a fun hang and cool that they got the opportunity to coach.
yeah, really really good choices there. I thought that was a good decision. But I'm excited. I want to see Common play, Jamie Foxx play, Anthony Anderson play. If anything, those guys they're just gonna be fun to have on camera trying to do something they probably shouldn't be doing. So I think that there's definitely some exciting guys out there that'll spark my interest. So I'm definitely gonna be tuning in for it. It's funny that you bring up Nate Robinson. It doesn't look like he's going to be playing in the NBA anytime soon, but I'm pretty sure he made one of the big three rosters right now. So you'll be seeing him in the summer
Yep.
for the 3-on-3 league. You will also be.
Have you been keeping an eye on that?
Yeah, they really stepped up their game this year. A lot of good
I
signings this
mean,
year.
there's definitely some names and some younger guys, and I don't know how well it's gonna work, but I mean, even a guy like Greg Oden, where it's like I don't know if he can even run, but in the half court of just hey, you as soon as you see that guy as like an average fan, you're like, oh, that's Greg Oden, I know who that is. Where last year it was like more guys from the '90s and maybe the early 2000s, like ooh, it's been a while, but some of the other guys is like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, this is definitely getting more interesting. They say they're gonna televise the games live. I think that's a big move. And like I said, it's gonna be on the summertime. Their competition is baseball. That's it. They're not trying to do this right now with all the other basketball going on. So I think that I'll definitely give it another shot. I didn't really give up on it last time, but kind of watched some, and then it was like, well, I already kind of know what's gonna happen, and I think that this could definitely be interesting with an influx of uh,
It,
some younger guys that more recently run the league.
it's exciting. I watch the game every year. I don't know if I paid that close attention to it, but it is fun to see these guys kind of out of their element and trying something else new with one another also out on the floor. So it's a good group. Should be a good group this year. Do we need it though? Do we really want this?
nice appetizer for the Rising Stars game.
I'm not sure if we truly wanted this or if we ever asked for it or who needs this game. It's just kind of fun to have. And that also falls directly in line with this Uncle Drew movie that is really going to happen. I just thought this was kind of a spoof. Like, this was just going to be little YouTube shorts that we're going to continue to do time and time again. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what
Oh no,
Uncle Drew is,
it's
Uncle Drew is an alias character, a fictional character played by Kyrie Irving, in which he dresses up like an old man, essentially shows up to pick up games on court. They think he's truly an old man, and then he, flips the switch and is suddenly Kyrie Irving in an old man costume playing against a bunch of amateurs in a pickup game. And it goes exactly as you think it would go. He embarrasses everybody. Now it's been taken to another level. It's going to be a full-blown movie featuring a bunch of characters. Shaquille O'Neal. All these guys will not be themselves. They will be essentially old men characters in this film. So Shaq's in it, Nate Robinson's in it. I saw Chris Webber's in it, Reggie Miller's in it. I think Candace Parker's in it, or somebody.
yes,
Yes,
yeah. There's definitely a WNBA player in there.
I was it Lisa Leslie or was it her? I can't remember. That sounds terrible.
No, it definitely was. I don't think it was Lisa Leslie.
Anyways, I like the shorts. They're like 10-minute, 8-minute videos, and they're perfect. I think I got the idea of what was supposed to happen, and it was entertaining to watch. I don't know if I need a movie. I don't know if anybody ever asked for this movie, and I don't know if we need it or if this is going to be a really bad bomb, or maybe it'll surprise me. But I don't expect that at all. I think this is going to be a terrible movie. But are you looking forward to it?
I when it first came out, that first video, and they went through it, and he went to the court. I thought, wow, this is really cool. Just the whole idea of it, and he plays it up, and he gets there, and he's just kind of hobbling, and he's kind of on the side, and then someone gets hurt, so they kind of just, hey, well, we need one more. And I think if you've ever played pickup basketball, you know how that is when you have an odd number, you need one guy. It's like if you have arms and a leg, arms and legs, like please just come over, anything, because we want to keep running. And then he airballs a shot or throws off the backboard or something, and then just kind of like slowly gets into form, and it culminates with him just dunking, and just you see the look on the people's faces on the crowd, and crazy. But then they do it again and again, and at that point, like every time I go to the basketball court and I see someone that's like, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be here, my immediate thought is that might be Kyrie Irving, that might be somebody in the NBA. Like, I don't know how you can do this trick over and over again. So I kind of got tired of that. This was also when Kyrie was on the Cavs. Right around when Kyrie came to the Celtics was right around when I heard that this was going to be for real. But I also didn't know how for real, but like we watched the trailer came out for it. It's a legitimate movie. But yeah, I watched it and I was like,
It's not gonna
I
be
don't
good.
know.
It's
I don't
not
know.
gonna be good. There's no way this movie's
Well,
good.
there's gonna be the basketball part has to be good, is what I would imagine. But then
The movie part's gonna be terrible,
movies,
and that's gonna have to be the most of the
movies,
movie.
and you can't just it can't just be like a and one mixtape the whole time. So it's like you're gonna have a movie part. You're gonna have a plot. And if this kind of got hastily thrown together, and it's movies are hard enough with real actors, let alone when you have basketball players trying to be actors, like which seems like to be the majority of the cast. So it just seems really hard to hide. And I don't know, maybe we have too high of expectations for this. And yes, it'll be a movie, but this is a little more of the Kevin Durant. What was it? It was like the Lake Mike
The
ripoff.
the Thunder Struck or something like that. What was it?
Yeah, it was something like that where a kid gets basketball abilities, and maybe it's one more like that direct to Netflix kind of movie, not something that you're paying money to go see in the theaters up
No, the
against
trailer
a
said
Marvel
coming to
movie.
theaters near you in was it July, June?
Ooh, I missed that part.
That see
Maybe maybe select.
that's when I thought that's when I realized that this is a real movie. I thought that was just a spoof trailer they put out, and that the YouTube video was going to
Oh, and
come
it
out
still
at
wasn't.
some point.
Oh
But it
no,
said
I'm pretty
in
sure it's
theaters.
legit.
It's legit going to be a movie and coming to theaters near you. That's I don't know. I'm not
Well,
going to see it in theaters. I'll say that much. There's no way I'm going to see it in theaters. Unless somebody
I
really ends up recommending it strongly, I'm gonna have a hard time finding the time to see it. And I love the Uncle Drew skits.
yeah.
I just don't want a movie of it. I feel like it's not gonna have
It
that
seems
same
like it's too
excitement the
long.
first one
Yeah.
had. It's not. It's gonna be. I wish it the best. All right, Kyrie Irving is our
I hope. Yeah.
Boston.
I want Kyrie to be successful.
So
But I'm hesitant. I want to go in with very low expectations and then be surprised rather than vice versa.
no, but anyways, we've got about a couple minutes left in the podcast here. Just reminding you, you're listening to A Little Column A, A Little Column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. Make sure you check out our website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. You can also check Zach's Twitter game out on what's the username there? What do you got?
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Make sure you check that out. Stay up to date on all his movie and crazy. You're almost done with the superhero marathon, right? Where are you right now?
Yeah, I've gone through all of the Marvel movies and TV shows except for the most recent of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5, which I am one episode in. There's 10 out right now, so I've made the full leap through.
Really making the plunge there, going all out on it. I haven't seen all the shows. I've seen almost all the movies. I am really excited for this Black Panther. I listened to the soundtrack by Kendrick Lamar and a bunch of other artists. Really, really like the soundtrack. I know so little about the movie, but the soundtrack made me so interested in it that I kind of have this high expectation and really excited to see it in theaters at some point. That's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or Friday? Friday is that. I think it's Friday's the
I think it's one of those where it kind of comes out Thursday, like afternoon or something. Like you can kind of go see it, but really like Fridays where it's going to be everywhere.
Anyways, excited about that. Hopefully I get a chance to maybe do a little review on that if it ends up being what I think it'll be. I think it's going to be an awesome movie. Sounds like it's going to be a little different. What else? What else we got to tell you? If you're in San Diego and you're in the market for some real estate needs, make sure you check out soldbywill.com for all your real estate needs. Whether you're a buyer, seller, or just interested in real estate, Will has time for you. Anything else you want to add out there?
I thought that all the Marvel stuff was good except for the Inhumans. The Inhumans TV show was very bad. That's a more recent one that was on ABC. That one was not good.
Struggle. All right. Do you know if they're continuing to make that?
I figure if you only have one bad one out of all of them, I really like the newest Thor. I didn't really know. I kind of heard. That's all you hear now from the Marvel movies is just you just kind of hear like, yeah, it was pretty good. Like they're not like surprised so much anymore. You're like, you're gonna be decently entertained. so I kind of went with that, and it was just like it was a little bit different, and it was funny, and it felt like they really pushed for, hey, we're gonna make a funny superhero movie, and it was just they didn't need to do that, but I really got a kick out of it, and it was fun.
Well, they played to their strengths, and I think those little quirky jokes and it kind of having references and cameos and all of this stuff to other funny things outside of the actual movie really, really strengthened the whole movie as a whole. I thought it was a fun movie. It was fun. I liked how they made fun of everything, and that was beneficial to it. I don't know if it could have just been the action movie without that and really satisfied me and most audiences as much. So shout out to
I think that's part of it, because the some of the ones that came before it were a lot heavier with, Civil War, where it's, hey, the Avengers are, they're fighting each other and they're not getting along, and then there's I think they're all blending together, so I'm trying to remember which is the movies and which are the TV shows, but there was a whole arc just about how, I think this does go into I think this was one, yeah, I got them all confused. Where it's just about how, hey, maybe these superheroes aren't so great, and the government's coming in, and they're trying to figure out, hey, do we need to regulate this more or not? And it just kind of turns into this political, like, government, like, this is kind of heavy. Like, this isn't so much fun. I just kind of want to see good guys kicking bad guys' asses, and this kind of just got more to like, hey, we're just gonna have fun. We're just gonna have fun with this. We're out in outer space, and it really felt like, hey, if we're gonna, like, they tried to get to closer to what Guardians of the Galaxy is, of like, hey, if we have this kind of more serious movie, and then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, which is this funny, like, ripping jokes all the time, and these guys got to interact in the same universe, like, this is gonna be a big jump. So this seemed like a kind of a bridge between the two.
All right, so following all that up, I'll ask you this. I've seen most of the movies. I haven't seen any of the shows. Did the shows really add anything to it? Are these must-see?
I enjoyed the shows. There's not really a ton of interaction. The ones that are on Netflix, I think, are definitely worthwhile. They each have their own different feel. They all interact with each other, so it's kind of like the TV version, sort of the Avengers, where it's just, hey, you got your thing kind of going on over here, I got my thing going on over here. Sometimes it interacts. There's a character or two that you see, you're like, oh, I know you from Daredevil. They reference some of the events in the Marvel movies, but you could watch them without having watched the Marvel movies. It's just kind of like the big New York from the first Avengers whole big fight scene. They just kind of reference that as the incident. But I just think it's cool of, well, you watch that movie in New York, a bunch of it gets destroyed, and here's the aftermath, how it's affecting kind of like more regular people, where it's like, yeah, well, here's like my cousin's, girlfriend died, and she's really upset about it or something. So definitely worthwhile. I don't think must see. That seems pretty strong, but I definitely would recommend, especially the Netflix ones.
All right, well, that's about all the time we got for today. Thank you again for listening. Feel free to share, subscribe, and check out that YouTube video of the high heel race. We're also on iTunes and all of the affiliated apps, Podcast Addict, all that. Make sure you tune in and listen. Thank you as always. We'll be back.